it's not done, it could be pending for 6 months to 12 months. You don't want that to happen, do you?
No.
So make sure you write down that what a stall is, and what a condition is, and what an objection is. Okay, so what's a stall again? That's when they don't even give you the real reason that they want to wait. Okay, and a condition is something that has to be met or taken care of before they can list. And an objection is just, hey, it's just something that you know, that's stopping them from moving forward. It's something they want to figure out. But we can handle objections on the appointment. We can even convert the stall into the objection. So when you're talking to somebody on the phone and they tell you it's an estate sale, you're going to want to say, you know, especially when you're busy. When you're not really busy, I don't mind if you go and meet people and just get to know them and be a consultant and start. But you got to understand, when you're busy, you're not going to be able to spend a lot of time with people that are not ready to list. So probate is something you want to get out of the way, okay? So now let's pretend that everything sounded good on the phone. You bona fide it, you sent your pre-list brochure, you go over there, you're dressed like $1 million, you brought everything you need to list the house. You got 20 business cards to notify the neighbors as well. And you get through the steps and they say, we just want to, you know, think about it. And you go, what? And they go, yeah, just think about it for a bit. So then you might use this technique. It's called what is it? Is it the? That's the technique. That's the first bit of words. What is it? Is it the? And so imagine your presentation. The first page is the 7-step sales process, yes?
Yes.
What's the second page?
Series
of questions. And that may be the second and third page. And then the next step after that is something to remind you to preview the property. After that is something showing the 5 areas of your marketing plan. Then after that is a net sheet so you can figure out price. And after that is something to remind you to pull out the forms. And after that is just a question mark to see if they have any questions. And at that page you go, do you have any questions? Because they didn't sign, and they say, well, we just want to think about it for a while. And you do the what? And then you say, well, what is it exactly that you need to think about? And now what you do is just go backwards in your presentation. You don't even have to think hard here. Remember, when you got a listing presentation, you set it down and you open the book, and it's designed to keep you on track. You don't have to think, not think like to make it up, I mean. You just look at the page. Oh, here's our 7 steps. Turn the page. Oh, here's our questions. Turn the page. Oh, here's our preview. Let's preview the property, and then we'll come back to the table. Turn the page. Oh, let me tell you about my marketing plan. Turn the page. You got a few pages for that. And then you say, okay, let's see what's next, and then it's price, and you turn the page, and then it says forms. Turn the page, and there's a question mark. So if they say they want to think about it, we want to go backwards and say, what is it that you need to think about? Is it anything to do with, and the step we just completed was step 5, which was the forms, yes?
Yes.
So we could say, okay, is there anything on the forms? And they probably say, no, I'm good, right? Because they're just kind of wanting to just see if you leave. So you don't say, are you okay with the forms only. You actually say, are you okay with the forms? And they go, yeah. And you'll say, okay, so you're okay listing it until May 22nd, 2023? Because if they have an issue with that, they're not going to say, see, if you say just the forms in general, it's easier for them to say, yeah, we're good with that, right? But if you say, okay, let's just make sure though, are you good with the date, May such and such? If they're not, they're going to say they're not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You've got to find out what it is. So if there's a reason they're not going to list with you, when do you want to find out? 2 days from now when they list with somebody else, or would you rather know right now when you're there?
Right now.
Right now, right now, okay? So, you know, it's interesting. I've seen people say, no, they said they're not ready, they're going to get back to me later. I just cringe because I know they didn't even try to figure out what the real problem was and gather more, or go over more information with them to still try, okay? You're going to be so good and have so many tools that every time they throw an objection your way, you're going to pull out something else. And finally, they're just going to say, you know what, it seems like you have an answer for everything, so what the heck, I guess we'll just list. You know? Wouldn't that be better than you just fold in like a cheap lawn chair? We just want to think about it. Okay, call me when you're ready. And they don't call, right? They're looking for a strong agent anyways. The next person that comes in will be me, and I'll handle everything, and I'll list with me, and I'll make to send you a message and tell you can bring your buyers. That's it. That's all that's going to happen, okay? So is there anything, what about the terms? You good with all the chattels we have on here? And, you know, whatever some of the terms are? And they'll say, no, we're good with that. All right, so it's not that. So, and then you go back to the pricing segment, step 4. You say, all right, so the price, you're good with the price? And if they look at you like, listen, we just want to think about it, just stop again and say, it's my job to make sure you have all the information. Because if there's something missing, right, you're not going to be able to make a decision. So while I'm here, I just want to confirm. So, you know how you went this way with your book? You went this way? Everyone sees that? And then when they say they just want to think about it, you go backwards. Anything to do with this? No, I'm good. Okay, so you're good with that, and you get into the particulars bit. Okay, okay. So are you good with this too? You know. All right. So listing it at $695 is okay. So I actually say the price. Yeah, no, we'll be good with that. All right. And then your net here shows your net's going to be $280,000. And remember, I told you not to say this when you're going this way. When you're going this way, you don't say what I'm about to say. But when you're going backwards, you'll say, so is that enough? Is 280 enough? Well, and if it's not, they're going to tell you, right? But they say, no, that's good, that's fine. You say, okay. So on the net sheet here, do you have any issues with the commissions? And if they say, yeah, or I mean, no, I don't, then you say, so you're okay paying now, what's that's $700,000 home, and what's 6% of 700,000? 42,000. So you're okay paying 42,000? Well, not okay, but I understand that, you know, you have to give half. So maybe it's not an issue, but you know, you got to make sure, right? Okay, so it's, and then you got to take your time. You go, so there's nothing on the forms here, you're good with the dates and everything. You got to have that concerned look on your face, like you're trying to figure out what it is they need to think about. And the price is good, the commissions are good. Oh, is it anything to do with my marketing? Are you pretty happy? I know that you mentioned that you liked what my company and I offer, but any questions on that? How we notify the realtors, how we expose it to the public, separate the lookers from the buyers? No, I think we're good with that too. All right. Okay. So now the next ones I bring up are just random ones that you would have that you would say based on a feeling. Okay. So you're not going to ask these 3 on a regular basis. These first 4 you will, because that's going backwards in the presentation. But I have a few just as samples that they may have commented on the phone or earlier in the questions, or a feeling you have. So you don't bring these up unless you know they might be an issue. Don't create the issue. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you know, something you said earlier, you mentioned about looking before you list. Are you still thinking of that maybe? But again, if they didn't say that, don't say it. See how I removed it? Don't say it. Unless you think that's what might be what they need to think about. Okay, then there's 2 more that come up that I'll bring up here, that you would only use one or whatever based on a feeling or something they said earlier. Make sense? So you might go, so you go with the forms, the price, and the commissions, and the marketing after you've literally made sure. And you may have not said this one, but you might have said the next one instead. Is it maybe because you folks are really not sure if you want to sell? I get that feeling that that's what you're going to be talking about. Is that right? And if they go, yeah, you know, we're just not sure if we even want to sell, we might wait. You know, like you said, some people think the market's going to change or whatever. And it is going to change. And I'm going to give you a little update on what somebody told me as a forecast coming up. And guess what? This taping I have here, it's going to be used for years by a lot of other realtors. And I'm going to say something that's happening for you folks right now, and somebody watching this 2 years from now will hear the same info, and it'll be relevant to them as well at that time. And if it's not 2 years from now, it'll be relevant 3 years from now. Real estate goes in a cycle. It goes up and it goes down. That's all it does. It just constantly goes up and it goes down. Can you imagine if real estate just went up all the time? Okay? Now, I know if you buy a house 20 years ago, it's going to be worth more now. But I'm not talking about that long. I'm just talking about that year-to-year thing with inflation and cost of living and people paying down their mortgages. You know, it just goes like this, right? And really what matters is how much equity they got in their property and how much they've maintained it. You either pay to maintain a property when you live in it, or you pay for it when you sell it. That's more important than the market itself. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So, you know, think about that. Somebody just lets something run down. They should have been maintaining it for those last 10 years. When they sell it, they're going to pay for it. So a couple other tips. But sometimes you're not sure if they want to sell. Or maybe they just, you know, you asked, so you're okay with the marketing? Yeah, okay. Are you still thinking of interviewing a few more? Yeah, actually, you know, it could be that, right? So the last three, you would probably only use one of them. Or none of those, maybe it's a different one. But definitely the first four. So let me play it out again here. And we're probably gonna do a little role play. But I'm gonna show you two techniques, this technique and another technique. I'm gonna get you to role play both. And then we'll take a break. So our coffee break will be a little bit later, but usually our food shows up a little later anyways, right? So let me finish teaching it first. So, so you say, what? And they go, yeah, you just, you know, need a little time. So, okay, so what is it that you need to think about exactly? Is it any of the dates or terms on the forms here? And when you role play, I'll tell you what to do, but I'm still teaching. So maybe they say, no, we're good with that. Okay, so listening until May 21st. You're fine with that? I go, yeah, okay. And all the appliances are good and all that? Yeah, okay. So is it anything to do with the price? No, we're good with the price. So listing it at, you know, 620. I forget who was Mr. and Mrs. Seller last week? There's Mr. Seller and Mrs. What was our price? You remember? 400, right?
400, yeah.
Yeah, so listing at 400, you're fine with that? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, and I think, what were you going to net again? 180 was it?
Yep.
Or 200? 180?
180.
So netting 180, is that enough? And yeah, we're okay with that, okay. And are you okay with the commissions? Well, you know, yeah, I guess we're okay with that. So, you know, paying 24,000, you're okay with that? Well, if we have to, I mean, I understand. Okay, so that's good. So it's not the forms, it's not the price, it's not the commissions. Is it anything to do with the marketing? No. So you see how I'm taking my time, just making sure? Okay, and then I might pick one of those ones. Is it because you're still thinking of looking first? No, I think we're good. You know, we'll let you know in a couple of days. And then you kind of look a little concerned. And you just have this look that you're really sad. And you say, is it me? Is it me? Really? Now the impact of saying that can get them to come right out and say what they really need to think about. Okay? And some of you would say, well, would they even admit that it's me? Well, I had it once where they said it was me. And this afternoon after lunch, we're going to go into all the objections, including, if you remind me, because it's not in our book, but if you remind me, I'll tell you how I handled it when they said, yeah, it is you. We don't want to list with you personally. Okay? So the dialogue, again, for this role play would be, I understand that you want to think about it, but what is it that you need to think about? Is it the forms? No, okay, so you're good with this, you're good with that. Is it the price? Okay, so you're good with this price and you're good with this net. Is it the commissions, you're okay paying this much? Is it the marketing? In fact, I think we will role play it this first before we go to the next one. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and we can just pause the